So I'm getting ready to start a new project, and well, it kind of starts when I pull out what I got and take a look and start making some decisions. I'm going to do 2 guitars at one time this time, because 4 is just a little too much in this small shop once you start getting all the parts there. There's no place to put anything, so I got to figure out, what I'm going to do, and I kind of pile things up and take a look at them. I thought I'd take a minute and share some of my favorite woods with you. And one of them is spalted maple. I make my own spalted wood, skid logs out of the woods, and you let them rot. Check them for color periodically with some test cuts, and if you're lucky and paying attention, then you end up with something like this, which is spalted maple, or this, which is spalted beech. And you can see that just the 2 types of wood with the same fungus and the same conditions produces 2 spectacularly different patterns. This is sawn on the quarter, so you've got a completely different grain structure to view the spalting in, and this is more flat sawn here. But the beech and the maple both produce some spectacular color. This is what it looks like when it comes off the sticker pile. You can see it's still got a lot of the fungus on it. It's looking kind of nasty. It's all got rain stain on the top of it. But if you know what you're looking for and you're in love with this stuff, this is a beautiful piece of wood to you, because when you skim it on the joiner, you're looking at something like that. I'm talking about sawing this stuff into veneer, so I'm going to get a lot of that wood out of just one piece like that. And you can see I've got this spalted stuff literally coming out of my ears. Sometimes you get color all the way through it like this, and sometimes you get just a little bit of color, but they all have their uses. You can see this one here, it's got a little bit less color, but there's a nice stain running through the back of it there. So that'll give me maybe 1 or 2 pieces of book match veneer that'll have that stain in it. This here has spectacular spalting on one end, but not much down there on the other end happening. And you can see there's nothing else special about that maple. But pieces like that will end up giving you veneer for headstock veneer, pick guards. So I get some flame maple from this local guy. He's basically 2 guys, and a sawmill and a kiln. And he works with pretty much all just local wood. So he saves me these thin boards that are the last or the first cut, where there's not enough to make up a board, but he saves them for me and gives me a really good deal on this flame maple. And I'll saw this into 2, maybe 3 pieces of veneer, and so put something that would otherwise go into the wood stove to good use. And you can just see there's tons of color in that. And he gives me a good deal on chunks like this too, which have just amazing flame in them all the way through. And again, I'll get good veneer off of that. So here's some more of the thin stuff. And again, I'll book match 2 pieces of veneer off of that, and that's enough to do a whole front on a guitar. So it's nice to be able to work with such fantastic quality wood, and it's like $3.50 a board foot. So there's a little bit of walnut here. I think I got this piece of walnut out of a scrap bin, actually. I get a lot of stuff from behind this Copeland Furniture down in Bradford, Vermont. And they put their scrap out, and somebody graded this out because it's got quite a bit of sap in it. It's totally flat sawn, so obviously someone didn't like that, but I mean, to me that's a free piece of walnut, and I'll be able to use that for all kinds of different things. And then this is some sugar maple. This is literally out of the backyard, basically. It's very local, and in some really nice sections, so you can find just the grain you want. Now this one here, you can see it's just so straight, runs straight down. It's almost quarter sawn, but if I saw 2 pieces off the end of that at 3/4 and then flip them on each other, you'll see I'll run straight grain all the way across in a book matched neck quarter sawn. That's going to be nice and stable. So I also have I'm toying with the idea of doing something with bird's eye maple, like one of my first guitars. And this stuff I have such a love-hate relationship with. It is an absolute bear to finish. When you run this through a planer, the bird's eyes get chipped out. So anytime you want to use it, you have to saw it twice as thick as you need it, spend twice as long running it through this sander here. In order to get it to where you want it. But it's just some really beautiful wood. And I also have another piece of bird's eye maple that's even worse or better depending on your point of view, and this happens to be flame maple. It's got a very tight tiger stripe in it, and it's bird's eye as well, so it's going to be just a total nightmare to finish, but it's just got so much potential. And something like this won't be wide enough to book match, but you mark it when you saw it. I can definitely get probably 4 pieces of veneer out of that, and I get a 3-way book match, which can go all across the front or back on a guitar. And then I've got some other flame maple, and I think I'm probably going to end up sawing myself some extra veneer. I always make more than I need, and these big pieces here, I didn't get any deal on this stuff, but you know, when you do go in there with some money every now and then, you walk out with something sweet. And it's not skimmed in the middle here, it's still rough sawn, but you can see there's a flame deep on both sides, and it runs all the way through this piece. The edge, you can maybe see a little bit of it there. But so anyway, that's how my projects start. I start going through my piles and pulling out an interesting piece here, an interesting piece there, all with the aim of finished veneer. None of this stuff's going to get cut up and used in big, thick chunks like you see most folks doing. That's very, very wasteful. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my good stuff and I'm going to make it into this veneer. Now, this isn't what you're thinking of when you think veneer. I'm pretty sure of that. It's 3/32 of an inch thick. Responds like a board to just about anything. You can run it across the joiner, you can glue it together with wood glue, you can saw it, plane it, sand it, and it gets laminated to a substrate. And that's how we make use of our really premium wood. We saw it into veneer and we laminate it to something that's not quite so pretty. Anyway, I'm looking at my piles of wood, thinking in terms of 2 guitars. I got to narrow this selection down. I don't know what I'll end up with. More than likely the Spalted maple and the bird's eye, just since I'm a glutton for punishment. But you start thinking about what things are going to look like, what woods you're going to combine, and kind of get an idea where the project's headed, you know, what direction you're going to take.